Chapter 33. Whispers in the Wild. Dylan slumped against a gnarled tree root on the muddy bank of the Bloodveil River, his body a patchwork of aches and bruises, the crimson water lapping hungrily at his boots. The air hung thick, laced with the metallic bite of the river and the jungle's pervasive rot, the bruised sky overhead rumbling with distant thunder that promised no mercy. His starry scars pulsed faintly beneath the rune-etched leather armor, a cursed souvenir from the castle's depths, its subtle magic humming like a faint itch he couldn't scratch. Grave marrow rested heavy at his belt, its blade silent for now, but Kaezhul's voice echoed in his skull, a slick, mocking whisper that refused to fade. The demon's words from the catacombs clawed at him, star vessel, choices tipping toward light or shadow, his earth regrets a festering wound. Bullshit mostly, but the mural's image lingered, that scarred boy entwined with gods, a prophecy he wanted no part of. The potion he'd downed earlier, a glowing blue vial from the sorcerer's chest, had knit his wounds, easing the gash on his thigh and the fog of his concussion into something manageable. His head cleared, the world sharpening into vivid, brutal detail, the river's foaming rush around jagged rocks, the Bloodwild's crimson foliage rustling with unseen threats. But their healing came with a catch. It didn't touch the gnawing emptiness in his gut. He hadn't eaten properly in days, maybe longer, the herbs from the study, a bitter tease that left him hollowed out. Hunger clawed at him, raw and insistent, twisting his stomach into knots. His mouth watered at the thought of anything solid, but the jungle offered nothing but mockery. Vines dripping acid sap that hissed on the ground, berries clustered like blood clots, glowing fungi pulsing with a rhythm that screamed poison. "Fuck this," Dylan muttered, hauling himself up, legs shaky but steady enough. He needed food, real food, or he'd drop before he made it 10 miles. He plunged into the jungle's edge, away from the river's roar, eyes scanning the undergrowth frantically. A cluster of red-veined fruits dangled from a low branch, plump and inviting, but as he reached for one, it split open, oozing a green slime that burned the air with acrid fumes. He jerked back, cursing, his hand stinging from the vapor alone. Mushrooms sprouted from a rotting log, their caps iridescent, but he'd seen enough in Eryndor to know beauty meant death, probably hallucinogenic, or worse, gut-rotting. He hacked at a vine with grave marrow, hoping for some edible core, but it wept a milky fluid that smelled like decay and made his eyes water. Panic edged in, his breaths coming short and ragged. The jungle blurred, his vision tunneling from starvation, the drone in his skull amplifying every rustle into a threat. He stumbled over roots, tearing through ferns that left welts on his skin, desperation mounting. "Come on, something, anything," he growled. But the Bloodwild laughed back, its crimson heart indifferent to his pleas. A voice slithered into his mind, smooth as oil, laced with amusement. "Hungry, star vessel? You'd like some help, wouldn't you?" Dylan's jaw tightened, his scars flaring hot. Kaezhul, the horned bastard with his snake eyes and venomous tongue. "Fuck off," he snapped aloud, though he knew the demon heard every thought. "I don't need your shit." "Not from you." The voice chuckled, low and intimate, like a lover's whisper in the dark, defiant as ever. "But defiance won't fill your belly, Dylan. You'll waste away here, a pathetic end for one marked by stars." He ignored it, pushing deeper, but the search yielded nothing. Thorns that drew blood, leaves that crumbled to ash in his hands, a stream of brackish water that tasted like iron and regret. His stomach cramped, vision swimming, weakness dragging at his limbs. Hours slipped by, or maybe minutes, time warped in the hunger's grip. Finally slumped against a tree, sweat soaking his armor, he whispered, "Fine. Help, what do I do?" Kaezhul's satisfaction was palpable, a warm coil in his mind. Wise choice. Look to your left, 25 yards through the vines. A tree, tall and twisted. In its branches, a nest. A large bird perches there, wait for it to leave, then pillage the contents. Dylan dragged himself up, peering through the crimson gloom. There it was, a massive tree, its black trunk slick, branches splayed like claws. High up, a woven nest of vines and bones, a hulking bird perched atop, its feathers iridescent red, beak hooked like a scythe. It eyed the jungle with predatory patience, wings folded. Dylan crouched in the undergrowth, heart pounding, the weight an eternity. His stomach growled loud enough to scare off prey, but the bird stayed, preening, oblivious or uncaring. "Patience," the demon murmured. "It will hunt soon." As if on cue, the bird unfurled its wings, massive, spanning 10 feet, and launched into the air with a screech that rattled leaves. Dylan bolted, scrambling up the trunk, bark slick under his fingers, acid sap burning his palms. He hauled himself onto the branch, breath ragged, and peered into the nest. Not eggs. 4 baby birds, featherless and pink, wriggling blindly, their tiny beaks gaping in silent hunger. They cheeped, weakly, helpless, eyes sealed shut. Dylan's gut twisted, not from starvation, but revulsion. "Babies, you said pillage the nest. I thought eggs." Kaezhul's voice was calm, reasonable, a serpent's hiss. All 4 cooked together would make a fine meal. Tender, nourishing, enough to sustain you for the trek north. "No," Dylan rasped, staring at the squirming forms. "This is fucked. They're alive, defenseless. I can't." "Can't what?" Kaezhul pressed, amusement edging his tone. "If it were eggs, you'd crack them without a thought, boil or fry them. What's the difference? Does not the egg become the bird? Life in potential or life begun? It's the same theft, star vessel. Survival demands sacrifice. Or would you rather starve, let the jungle claim you? Your scars burn for a reason. You're no longer the soft man from Earth, turning away from hard choices." Dylan hesitated, guilt churning like bile. The babies cheeped, innocent, their mother gone, but sure to return. On Earth, he'd ignored his own mother's pleas, let her waste away alone. Was this any different, turning away from life to save his own skin? But hunger screamed, his body trembling, weakness a black wave. "Damn you!" he muttered, but his hands moved, quick and merciful, snapping necks with a twist that made him retch. He gathered the tiny bodies, feeling their warmth fade, guilt a heavy stone in his chest. He climbed down, built a small fire with the flint, skewering the birds on a stick over the flames. The smell was gamey, not repulsive, but each bite was ash in his mouth, the meat soft and filling despite the bile rising. He ate mechanically, the potion's remnants easing digestion, strength returning in waves, but the guilt lingered, a shadow in his soul. "Happy now?" he growled. Kaezhul's chuckle faded, merely practical. "Rest now. The path ahead is long." Dylan doused the fire, curling under a root hollow, sleep claiming him in fits. Dreams of cheeping voices turning to his mother's accusations, stars bleeding into crimson nests. He woke sore but sated, the jungle's drone a constant hum, frustration boiling as he stared at the tangled wilds. Lost. Utterly fucking lost. The river was behind him, but north. The canopy blocked the sky. Vines a labyrinth. Frustrated already? Kaezhul's voice returned, teasing. "You'd like help finding your way?" Dylan spat, wiping sweat from his brow. "I can figure it out. Don't need your hooks in me deeper." "Suit yourself. But the Bloodwild twists minds as well as paths. Wander long enough and you'll circle back to bones." He tried, hacking through vines, following what he thought was a game trail, but it looped, dead-ending at a bog that reeked of death. Hours wasted, exhaustion creeping back, the quiet unnerving, no beasts, no attacks, just endless red and black. Finally panting, he slumped. "All right, help. How do I get north?" Kaezhul's satisfaction was a warm pulse. "Good boy. Listen, the moss on the trees, thicker on the southern side, where the storms blow wet. Use it as a guide. Follow the upward slope. The ground rises toward the Stormspire. Avoid the glowing streams. They lead to sinkholes. And watch the leaves. Violet ones point north in the wind's pattern, a remnant of Caelith's old weaves." Dylan nodded grimly, orienting himself. The moss, a fuzzy compass, the slope, subtle but there. He moved, grave marrow at the ready, the armor's runes glowing faintly. The walk stretched long, hours into the dimming light, but the jungle stayed quiet. Too quiet. No shadow biters snarling, no glint weaves, spinning traps, no storm beasts crashing through. Just the drone, his footsteps, and the occasional drip of sap. "Why is it so peaceful?" Dylan muttered, suspicion gnawing. "Nothing's trying to eat me." Kaezhul's voice returned, smug and certain. "Of course. The beasts know you're walking with me now. My presence clings to you like shadow. They sense Vaughn's touch and fear it. Perks of alliance, star vessel." Dylan shivered, the words a chill despite the heat. Alliance? He hadn't asked for that. But the path cleared, the jungle parting almost willingly, north toward the Stormspire's jagged peaks, Zorath's secrets waiting. His scars burned, guilt from the birds mixing with unease, each step with Kaezhul binding him tighter, the quiet a deceptive gift in Eryndor's savage heart. The road to home felt longer, shadowed by choices he couldn't unmake.